Welcome everyone. Today, our focus is on a crucial aspect of academic and scientific endeavors, the art of writing a research paper for acceptance in international journals. My fellow panelists will be covering various dimensions, including tips on crafting a good paper with clarity and originality, showing links with the prior literature, ensuring adherence to general formatting and writing style guidelines, and managing revisions with confidence by taking the critiques and suggestions from the reviewers in a positive stride for making your thesis and its substantiation with reason and evidence crystal clear. The most important element in writing a research paper for international journals is the reason why you are writing and what new insights you bring from your cultural grounding to the scholars, practitioners, and policymakers not privy to your unique set of experiences and references. If you have something original to say, which is backed by a web of references to the constructs commonly used in the mainstream literature as a front to opening them to new interpretations based on your unique set of experiences, then no force can stop acceptance of your work. Self-awareness, grounded in the age of digital transformation, is the first step towards developing clarity about the reason for activating your brain to act like an illuminator for the universe. Therefore, let's start by understanding what is self-awareness. There is a phrase in the scriptures, Tharva Gati Karma Na Tharva Iti Atharva. What it means is the action, the karma of the present, changing, variable mind, that is Atharva, not the time multiplier, multiplies the motion Gati of the unchanging linear constant mind, Tharva, with the arrival, Iti, of the past rotating the present. The variable mind brings adaptability to the present for temporary growth of the consistency to the future with the constant mind by moderating the variability of time with the constancy of the past. What's present earlier has now become the past, and the past has an influence on the present mind, and therefore the present mind is the variable mind, the atharva. Because the present mind is changing, that allows what has gone into the past, the constant mind, to continue moving along with the present as a parallel growth. Because our mind keeps on adapting to the wisdom of the past, it gives an illusion we are adapting our future. But the constancy of the past is an illusion. It disconnects the present self from moderating primordial self. And when the present self is disconnected from the primordial self, it amplifies the variability of time by connecting with the primal self. We are connecting with the wisdom of infinite selves that have now become past. And we are realizing those infinite selves, the primal selves, which was relevant in the past, but it's no longer relevant. That amplifies the variability of time, even though in our mind it produces an illusion that the time is moving slowly because the time has become constant. It's the same past that is being reproduced again and again. Mother Nature is always fresh. She's always changing. That escalates the grand challenges in the world. That escalates the problems, the tensions, the conflicts that we face in our mind and in the physical world. Because our actions are not in tune with what is appropriate for the present. They are loaded with the baggage of the past wisdom without really understanding and deconstructing the nature of that wisdom and its value for the present. What is digital transformation? Digital transformation is the wisdom of infinite selves, the primal selves. It's the wisdom that we are transforming digitally. Why we are transforming the wisdom digitally? For sustainability of that wisdom. We want to sustain the use of the wisdom that infinite selves have generated over a period of time based on their experiences, conceptions, perceptions. How the wisdom is sustained? The wisdom is sustained when we reproduce the wisdom of the infinite selves. It preserves resources by mitigating cost of reconstructing wisdom through scientific discoveries, social validations, and personal experiences. That happens when we have faith in the wisdom for its use with devotional intensity. Faith is a dimension of religion preserving a belief system that whatever the infinite selves have said, whatever is their wisdom, that wisdom has certain value. It has certain reproductive value. It has something gravitational value that attracts us to that wisdom, to those infinite selves. Who has this faith? One who has a self-awareness of the reality worth believing. That's the person who is guru. The guider is the one who is servicing wisdom within belief system as science. Guru can explain the science of that wisdom so that that can be used in a prudent, appropriate way. There may be many gurus. Out of these gurus, who is the self, whose awareness is worth following? Guru who uses a scientific approach for cost-effective development of an organization, guru as an organization, of any entity as an organization, cost-effective development of that organization as a self-organizing leader without the ambiguity of believing a leader. The person who is following a scientific approach doesn't have to rely on believing anybody else. If that person's self-awareness is transformed digitally, we are going to witness cost-effective development of nations using that cost-effective wisdom. If that awareness is not grounded in a scientific approach, you see cost-escalating development, the kind of development that we are seeing right now. Increasing challenges in the world, increasing conflicts in the world. That shows that the approach that we are using is not really a scientific approach, even though we may believe that it's a scientific approach. It's contaminated by the wisdom of the past without taking a scientific approach to deconstruct and understand the reality of that past so that we can make it relevant and appropriate to the issues and challenges of the present world. The method I'm using in making these assertions is the following. I'm reporting the findings of my research, which has been reported in 15 books published over the last 5 years. Overall, more than 30 books which I published in my career. This research is guided by, first, introspection into the reality, looking inside, then extroversion of the real, and finally conversion of real into value for scientific investigation of truth with notions and opinions guiding the diverse religious and secular belief systems. Diverse religions and secular scientific belief systems in the world are guided by a variety of notions and opinions. And there's a truth within these notions and opinions. These notions and opinions are not the truth, but there's a fragment of truth within these notions and opinions. The thesis guiding the method is the following. A notion is partial knowledge. Partial knowledge is the illusion of truth. Partial knowledge produces the reason for knowing the truth. If the reason was the truth, then there's no need for knowing if the reason works as a cause for the effect one desires. There's no need for scientific proof if what science says is the truth. There's no need for testing it again and again with any hypothesis. We are testing a notion because we want to substantiate that the reason works as a cause for the effect one desires. The reason is the causation, it's not the cause. A scientist desires the reason to be true. One opines a theory for the reason to be true, which produces the desired effect. Okay, so theory explains why the reason is true. If reason is producing the desired effect, because there was a conjecture, there was a hypothesis, there was not 100% certainty, the reason will be true. Therefore, one opines a theory, that opinion comes in. Perhaps this is the prior reason why this reason is true. It transcends the reason. This is the nomina of this phenomena. The core findings of my research is that an opiner, a one who opines, produces a theory with mind. Mind conceives the reason by perceiving the desired effect in the vision. The vision may be illusionary, imaginary, or real. The imaginary is the desirable, the spirit of the desired. The illusionary production of the desired transforms the imaginary into real. Illusion is the past dimension of whatever we have imagined. We produce it as an illusion derived from the past. Imaginary is the future dimension, and the real is the present dimension. So when we are visualizing something about future, our mind then reproduces it, and as we are reproducing it, that becomes real to us. The brain perceives the desired effect by experiencing the sensation of the mission of knowing the truth as a product of a desire. Body experiences the sensation a spirit desire as desirable for knowing the truth. So the truth is being scripted by a spirit to make a person conscious of the reality that exists within the truth. The truth is not the reality. Reality is a sentient entity, a conscious entity. An entity conscious, that an entity is the one who spiritualizes absolute truth with a soul. Soul is the consciousness. The absolute truth is the present truth of the sun, the absolute creator. The truth transforms sun into a deity, diffusing solar potential for its potentiation as a self-organizing leader. And that's the truth. The truth is each one of us is diffusing our potential for its potentiation as a self-organizing leader. A person who is not respecting the wisdom of the infinite selves is potentiating its own potential to be the primordial self. Primordial means Uttam. So the three classes of self-organizing leader. The first is the ideal, the second is the theory, and the third is reality. What's an ideal? An ideal is a norm follower. One follows the norm to be the ideal for everyone. You personify the wisdom of everyone, and therefore you're ideal for everyone. One is the effect of ideal. Why? Even though you are ideal for everyone, you are actually effect of the ideal that everyone was, that you are following. The theory. A theory is a norm leader, a person who leads the creation of the norm. In theory, a zero does not follow the norm because it is the leader who leads the norm of following the path of devotion. Zero is the effect of theory that produces the ideal. A theory says we should not follow the past ideal. Instead, we should follow the path of devotion. The path of devotion to whom? The path of devotion to oneself. Then what we produce is the self as the ideal, because we are devoted to the development of ourself. The leader is devoted to development of himself, herself, and therefore produces the ideal. It becomes the ideal. The reality is a norm organizer. In reality, one organizes a norm to follow, to be the leader in the future. If you follow a path of devotion to someone else who is the ideal, the goal is idealization of everyone else who is working as a worker, following you, then that allows you to be that leader, the zero, who doesn't need to do anything, but just observe them work like deities and be the king of deity, like Indra. The two, that's the separation of a zero and a one, the separation of an ideal and the leader, the deity and the king, is the effect of the reality living as 10. One becoming a zero, that means the reality is living as 10. That 10 is the primordial self, the Uttam Swam, organizing the leader element in the future with the follower element from the past. A primordial self follows self as a leader self. Let's look at type of entities and qualities of self. The three types of entities, a leader, follower, and organizer. For a leader, believer is a superior quality. If somebody believes in the leader, that's a superior quality. That's the kind of follower a leader looks for. Non-believer is an inferior quality. If somebody doesn't believe in you as a leader, that's an inferior quality. That's not the person you want to associate yourself with as a leader. For a follower, transcendental is a superior quality. Anybody that transcends the followership quality is the superior quality. Who transcends the followership quality? The leader. Immanent is an inferior quality. For a follower, anything which is within the follower is an inferior quality. That's what is forcing the follower to follow a transcendental element. For an organizer, the ideal is a transcendental quality of a leader. One follows to be a leader. Theory is immanent quality of a follower to follow a path of devotion to a leader as a test of quality of that leader to gift freedom from followership, that is moksha. The entity who is following that leader becomes the leader. That entity does not need to follow the known reality of the wisdom. When you masculinize, then you lose touch with the primordial self, the Uttam Swam. Instead, you try to gain power by accumulating the wisdom of infinite selves. You want to create wisdom by accumulating and following everyone else so that you can be the guru everyone follows. When everyone is copying everyone else, the wisdom that gets created, that moves more and more out of sync of the truth of the reality. It becomes increasingly difficult, if not impossible, to substantiate that wisdom scientifically. The ancient cultures, such as of India, have trove house of wisdom, but we lack now capacity to leverage that wisdom for scientific progress. Our education systems, our thought processes, everything is becoming increasingly westernized. I have written over the last 5 years a 12-book project Vipin, vastly integrated processes inside nature, with books like What is Present Reality, Is Present Reality, What is Divine Energy, Is Divine Energy, What is Consciousness, What is Paraconsciousness, What is Human Factor, What is Trading Factor, What is Cultural Factor, What is Technological Growth. And then I have published over the last year 3 books of the 6-book project Bhakti, Boosting Human Agility to Kindle Totipotent Impact. By the way, my wife's name is Bhakti. Of course, my name is Vipin. These are attempts to understand my nature and my relationship with my wife, her contributions to my totipotency and my potentiation. of my potential. These three books, Science of Goalkeeper, Goalkeeper being Change Identity, the Shift, Science of Science, and Science of Religion. These three books are metaphysics of time, space, and causation, respectively, the causation being the reason. Science of Goalkeeper is about managing goals with the potential within you. The Science of Science is how present reacts when you take future in your hands. And Science of Religion is how the future acts to present the past of your choice. These address a variety of scientific laws, Einstein or quantum mechanics or Newton, a variety of religious ideologies, thought processes, belief systems, spirituality, astronomy. A variety of knowledge systems are investigated and deconstructed. Values are presented in these works.